All right, everybody, welcome back. Good afternoon. We've got more to say about Robbie Ouzts of Alabama, now of the Seattle Seahawks. And again, this is going to be kind of hard, and it's probably going to be shorter than our previous videos. So now we're doing traits. If you didn't watch this morning's video on Robbie Ouzts by the numbers, go check it out. But now we're going to do Robbie Ouzts by his traits. What does he do well? What does he need to get better at? What is he probably never going to be good at? You guys get the drill here. So the issue is Robbie Ouzts spent a majority of his college career playing tight end. And I don't think he's here to play tight end. So even as we evaluate what he does on the field, you're only going to find limited examples of him doing for Alabama what he did for what he will do for Seattle. And for the record, if we are bringing him here to play tight end, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Like, to me, the idea of the Robbie Ouzts pick is pretty hard to understand and decipher if he's not going to be playing fullback. So the issue is that leaves us with a very limited amount of data to actually evaluate right now. And it also forces us to parlay things out based on limited evidence. So I'm going to do my best, and we're going to go through this list of pros and cons, but just understand this is a little atypical. Before I get into this, though, please like this video, click the thumbs up if you haven't already, subscribe if you're new, click the bell for notifications, become a channel member for $2 a month. Those are the best ways to support the channel. So the pros. I think the big pro here is Alabama really liked putting him on the move and putting him in space when he was throwing his blocks. So even when he's lined up in line, they like to have him pull. They like to have him even go out into the slot, motion out so he can hit guys in space while on the move. So you can see them understanding his limitations as a tight end and wanting to kind of unlock that ability to build momentum into a block. And that is kind of the nature of being a fullback. So even at Alabama, where they had him line up in line a lot, there seems to be a little bit of an understanding that, hey, this is what he does well. Low usage at Alabama notwithstanding, a capable route runner overall. I don't think he's a bad route runner. Physically, there are some things he can't do. He can't break cleanly the way you would like a route runner to. He's not fast enough to really separate, but his routes are not bad. They're just plotting, and for the most part, he's going to be where you expect him to be when you call a certain play. So if he has to do a little bit of receiving in the NFL, I don't think he's going to be terrible at it. It's just going to be limited by his athleticism. He's very solidly built. He would be one of the shortest and heaviest tight ends in football if he was actually a tight end. And again, I don't think that he really is, but if he was, he would be very, very unique. So he is built very, very solidly. And I think that works well for what we're trying to do here. I like the way he plays. He's a very physical player. He's got a real desire to dominate his blocks and finish strong. There's no like soft hand fighting with him. There's no patty cake. He wants to hit players hard. He wants to hit players in the mouth, and he wants to bury them with pancakes. So he's got the right mindset to do what we're going to want him to do. When the ball is in his hands, which is very rare, he is hard to take down because he's so big. Like there's something to be said about his runaway freight train power that allows him to, at the very least, fall forward and bulldoze his way through tackles. I don't think it'll come up very often. There's only one football, and there are a lot of guys on this team I'd rather have holding a football than Robbie Ouzts, but when it happens, could be a little bit of explosiveness. He did a lot of work as a special teams player at Alabama. He was a key part of the special teams, I think, all 4 years, if not most of it. So you are getting a guy who should be able to contribute as a special teamer as well. I'm not going to go extensively into that, but there's reason to believe you're getting a useful special teamer. He can generate good drive and blocking when given space to build up steam, which is why a lot of people, including myself, want him to be a full-time fullback. Just let him throw himself at these defenders and dislodge them with the speed to power. So I think that he can create movement, and I think he can create holes with that. Technically sound as a blocker, getting low and utilizing his anchor to win. I think that on a fundamental level, he is very capable of throwing good blocks and maintaining good anchor. There are some shortcomings here, and I'll get into them shortly, but technically, I think he has a pretty good understanding of it. He's got good hand placement. I believe he was a wrestler in high school, and it shows up in a good way on the when he's engaged in trench battles. He maintains pretty well on a technical level. I think he does do a good job making sure his hands are in the right spot. So there's reason to believe this guy can be an effective blocking tight end for sure. Everything I just said, everything I just went over, or most of it anyway, paints the picture of a guy who is going to be what Kubiak wants. Now, maybe he won't be everything that Kubiak wants. Maybe in a dream world, Kubiak wants somebody like a Taysom Hill at fullback. Obviously, this guy's not that, but this guy can be a traditional fullback. Now, that's not to say there aren't some issues and concerns. The good news is I think some of these concerns are going to be heavily mitigated in the pros. Let's go through them regardless. The short arms. The short arms, there are a lot of plays, and I saw some of them on the tape, but it's pretty evident looking at him. His arms are so short, it's really hard for him to sustain blocks because other defenders are just going to get into his chest. So when he lines up in line and he's actually just going mano-a-mano against like an edge rusher or even like a blitzing linebacker, that length is killer, and he loses a lot when he's in line, which is why I think keeping him out of those inline situations is going to be a good thing. Speed and general movement skills are not enough to reliably get open, so I wouldn't expect him to be able to do any of that. I would definitely reduce his ball holding responsibilities in the league to minimal amounts. I think that there's probably about, I don't know, 8 to 10 passes a season that he should be catching, and that's about it. Catch radius is small due to short arms and lack of athletic ability. I don't think he has terrible hands or anything like that. I think despite the 2 drops, his hands aren't bad, but he's got no catch radius. You can't miss him and expect him to bring it in. When I'm evaluating this player, I'm barely even considering things like how good he's going to be at catching the ball. It's just not something that I'm going to feature with him at all. Probably not enough to offer as a tight end to make it as one in the NFL. I do think that you're wasting him by playing him at tight end in the NFL. Doesn't have the ability to run truly sharp routes, limiting effectiveness. So, again, just keep him out of that role as much as you can. Use him the way Alabama did, except don't put him in line, is what I would do. And there's some moments of over-aggression when trying to square up a block. And even as a fullback, that does kind of, it seems like he's just a little bit over-eager, and he ends up overrunning the play or underrunning the play. But overall, I think that these issues are going to be minor or completely irrelevant if you use them the right way in the pros. So that is the main thing to me. Make him a full-time fullback. He should be playing tight end once or twice a game on average, maybe just for like jumbo packages where you're running the ball at the goal line. And I think you can get good things. And that's really all I have. I know that's much shorter than my typical traits video, but it's tough with a player like this. There's not much to say, especially when a lot of his negative traits are going to be, I think, pretty irrelevant in the NFL with what we're going to ask him to do. We do have one more video later today. We're going to look at a little bit of his tape. See you guys soon. A few hours away from that. Go Hawks. Have a good day.